A very good morning to you. It's beautiful. It's Wednesday. It's the Financial Clinic. My name is James Okumu. Thank you for taking the time to hook up with me. Today, every Wednesday, we take some time and talk about issues money. Your money. Tunachanuana pole pole as we move along. Today, we want to talk about costly investment blunders. Have you ever tried to invest and you lost your money? Oh my goodness. That's happened to me, I think, 3 times. You know, you throw your money here and then first one was a pyramid scheme. You know the way the pyramid scheme came na uvundo. You know, and everybody was excited about them. I was one of those people who was excited. Kwanza, it's a pastor friend who introduced me to this pyramid scheme. Hey, we are going to be rich. Kuomoka, my friend. The week we were supposed to harvest is the week that thing was shut down. And we were in mourning for several months. The money just disappeared as we watched it. I have several people who are SMSing me this morning telling me how they tried to invest and how they lost their money. I had a good one here from my friend Reverend Bernard Waroi. Reverend said one time we were invited to buy some plots that were ridiculously cheap. We paid and were asked to fence and start developing. What? After a few days, earth-moving machines came on the scene and pulled down all the fences, and the land was repossessed. Those who sold the land to us were nowhere to be seen. Hivyo dio tulioshwo. Oh my goodness. I can't even begin to imagine. Phyllis from Saudi Arabia says, I've never invested, but I've been conned by a good friend of mine. Sipendi kukumbuka hiyo story, na vile huyo jamaa alikuwa ameokoka. But the good thing he did after conning me is introduce me to Family Media. Phyllis, I'm glad you discovered Family Media. I've got 2 amazing guests who will be joining us shortly via Zoom to talk to us about costly investment blunders. But as we get into that, would love to hear from you. What is that blunder you made while investing? Where did you try to invest and you lost your money? Talk to me. 20316 is the SMS line, and the WhatsApp number is 0786 316 316. As always, you're right on time, my friend. Karibu sana. Clinic imefunguliwa, bench nimeweka hapo nje, nimeisanitize. I've even marked 1.5 meters away from each other. Mkae pole pole, msisukumane. Kila mtu maswali kwa mkono, because the train is moving. We are talking about costly investment blunders. In studio with us today via Zoom, I have Raquel Onyando. Raquel Onyando is a personal development coach specializing in financial wellness. Raquel, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Good morning, and thank you so much for the opportunity.
Karibu sana, good to have you. We also have financial consultant Eric Kivivia. Eric, how are you doing?
I am well. It's Kavivia. It's not an easy name to pronounce. Yes, until I run for the president, you will be able.
We will remember the name. We will remember the name and vote for you when you run for president. Eric, let me begin with you, even as we talk about costly investment blunders.
Yes.
Being somebody who's a financial consultant, maybe you can tell us what are some of the common investment opportunities that mwananchi wa kawaida tends to gravitate towards?
Hey, that one, every Kenyan in all respect, and from the example one of the viewers sent, or the listener sent, was land.
Yeah.
Land is one of the easiest things that we all want to invest in. We feel like it's the only resource that we will never grow. You cannot multiply it, and we feel like having it now, you will end up making a lot of money. So that is one. Another one is farming. Farming has become a big thing. There's a lot of hype about it. It is true, we all have to eat. But again, I always say this, even if we all have to eat and a lot of farming is done, a lot of research has proved that 60 to 70% of the food that we produce is wasted. So the biggest gap here is, how do we preserve that food? And that is where people should be investing. People go and again saturate the same place of production. Then there's also transport. Transport has become also another thing. Nani ana matatu, nani ajaingia Uber, who has not done 1, 2, 3 things. So transport has also become a big thing. Lending is another one that is actually growing bigger. And this one, I can give a good example, is even through chamas.
Yes.
Through chamas, we are all trying to invest one or another, and we try to invest in things like let us lend to each other. That is what circles are doing. We lend to friends to make an interest. And I can tell you this one because I sometimes also do it together with my wife. In between January and March, that's when we lend most of money to colleagues.
Wow.
And they will end up paying us by May, June, and we make something. So it's another big area that people are doing it. But of course, again, when we do it, what securities do we have? Because ukiamua kukaa nayo unaweza. So there is also a risk element. Another one that is also growing and gaining momentum is people investing in stocks, basically shares. The Nairobi Stock Exchange has quite a number of activities of late because there are people that are interested, because you will see this, and this one happens because of hypergain. Every year there's a daily one of the papers that will basically announce the valuation of people in terms of their stock. And it's always in billions of shillings. If you look at what they invested versus what they're valued at, it's quite high. And Kenyans like that multiplication factor. So when they see that James Okumu invested 10 years ago with only 100,000 and now he's worth $1 billion in stocks, everyone wants those stocks between now and March and April. After that, hype kwisha, we go back to our normal lives and we forget it. And the last one that I see nowadays is small business, especially retail. Import, we import something, we sell, or somebody imports in bulk, then they give us in smaller quantities and we are able to sell in retail. Those are some of the common things I get to hear and see again in our simple researches that we do, the common types of investments that people are getting into. Okay,
Raquel, to you, I'm just wondering, because it seems like every other Kenyan you talk to, especially in the cities, they've lost their money. They have lost some money through some form of investment somewhere. It's very common to hear this story that I invested here, I lost my money. Why is it common? Why are people losing money and they're trying to invest?
Thank you, James. And now we need to go back to the core. And this is you need to understand what is making people lose money. Why are they losing money? You go back to the bottom or the beginning. It actually begins with the person. Okay? Because why you are rushing to do all these things has to do with a gap or something inside you, or a belief system that you have inside you that makes you feel, when I do this, this will happen. So my work is to find out, who are you as far as money is concerned? Why do you find yourself doing this again and again and again? That means there is what we call a DNA inside you that attracts you to do these things. Okay? And this, by the way, this is very interesting because it goes back to your beliefs. Let me ask you, James, what is the most common thing that couples fight about? I mean, hands down, is about money. Okay, so you'll find people who are married, they're doing very well, but when there's an issue about money, they disagree, there's heated argument, there is fighting. So what are the chances that you and I as a child witnessed our parents either arguing, having those arguments about money? So we formed beliefs about money while we are very, very young. That money is not good. Money brings war. I don't want to keep so much money because the people who have money, money comes in and people fight. So my work is to go to the bottom. I just don't look at the symptoms of you getting into these things and losing. I ask you, what is it about you? What is inside of you that is making you make these decisions? Okay.
So Raquel, would you say a good number of us have got bad belief system in regards to money?
I would, and I wish I would ask this and think, how many of us had our parents say these things? Money does not grow on trees. You wanted something.
Yes.
You needed something for school. You went to your mother and then she's like, what do you think I'm going to get this money? Go ask your dad. All right?
Yeah.
You go to your dad reading the newspaper, you see his face, you're like, I'm not asking about money.
Yeah.
So as a child, you have that belief that money separates people. Money is not a good thing. But unfortunately, most of us don't even know that. So we are operating on an operating system that is has negative beliefs, what we call disempowering beliefs, which make us these decisions, but we don't even know. So as a life coach, I began just doing personal development, and I noticed one thing about money. People are worried about money. They are stuck in jobs they don't like because they want, if I leave this job, will I get another job that will give me money?
Yeah.
No. And sadly, to prove this, it has been established 99% of people who win lottery in 3 to 5 years become worse than they were before.
Yes.
Because they have a system, okay? And we follow those systems. So unless we break these empowering beliefs, first of all, by acknowledging we have them, okay?
Yeah.
And then we deal with them, we will always make money blunders. So it's not about copying the person who is doing the farming. It's not about that. It's about why do I need to do that? The why is what we need to get to the bottom of.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Eric, what do you think about what Raquel is saying? Because as I'm listening to her, I'm trying to think, and I'm thinking, there are those people who they move on from one investment to another and they make some good money. And then there are those who they're always investing and always losing. And I keep wondering, what's the difference between the two? So is there something that Raquel is saying to us, Eric, that is very important that many of us miss out on?
Yeah, very true. Actually, one of the things that I narrow down to, because I normally say I'm a very practical Christian.
Yes.
Practicality in this sense that lazima ifanywe na isemwe vile iko. Now, greed is the main thing here, sir.
Oh.
I'll tell you this for sure. We do with the wrong intention. Now, first is what Raquel has said, wrong belief system, number one. So the way you're actually wired because of the community around you, what you have seen around you, the things you've always had growing up. And actually, when you see people with money, you have a notion, it's like, it's that family, it's those people that are supposed to be more successful.
Yes.
So as you enter into it, you enter with the purpose to overtake. It's like you wasted a lot of time or somebody else wasted on your behalf. And that's why you hear things like, kwani guka yetu alikuwa watu wengine wakikula shamba. Where was my dad when others were? So you feel like you're already disadvantaged as you start. So why? You come with a lot of speed and greed. So if today I tell you, work at 10K to pay 100K kesho, you will want to do it very fast. Why? You will never question the fundamentals behind it.
Wow.
Because you're seeing the end game. And that's why a greedy person will always see themselves full and satisfied, but they never want to know how it was made. That's why they can easily eat poison.
Hey,
eventually it kills.
That's a deep one right there. That's a deep one right there. Greed.
Yes. So greed is the main thing. Greed is the main thing. Secondly, what is the purpose of this investment? Why am I doing it? What is the end game?
To get money.
Yes, to get money so that I do what?
Si hata mimi nionekana niko sonko. Naishi maisha poa.
That is where we get it wrong. Nionekane. There must be an end, and that end must be good.
Okay.
If, let's say, for instance, I'm investing so that I retire and live a better life. That's a good purpose. I'm investing so that I have at least financial security that even the kingdom of God might not lack because I am here. That's a good reason. I'm investing so that I can be able to educate my children. I'm investing so that I can impact the society around me. There are good reasons for doing things. But if you ever do it so that people look at you, see you, respect you, they will do it for a while. And guess what? That money will come to you for a while. And eventually people will be saying, Jamali Guanazo, Skuziana.
We are talking about costly investment blunders. If you have any questions for my guest this morning, you can text in via 20316, WhatsApp 0786316316. You can also tell us where you invested and lost your money. We need to learn from one another. So, usione haya, usiogope, hatutakuchekelea. We are laughing at our own selves because we've been there as well. It is the Financial Clinic. My name is James Okumu. We are talking about costly investment blunders. I'm hanging out with Eric Kavivia, financial consultant, and Raquel Onyando, personal development coach and specializing in financial wellness. SMSs are coming in. I'm asking you, have you ever tried investing and you lost your money? Edwin anasema, hey, many mistakes with shambas and plots. thoughts. Investing in wilderness. Pole sana, my brother. And then I have Rose. Rose has listed quite a number of things. Bitcoin in Dubai. The guys are now being prosecuted in the US. Online marketing. Number 3, land which was to be developed to an estate in Langata. Around 1M is still stuck in court. Still stuck court case, no titles, bank can't release balance, apartments were built minus the promise of swimming pool, clubhouse, etc. Developer enjoying my rent. I had even paid stamp duty. Rose, Paul Sana, but thank you for your message. There's one message here that I want to read and then ask a question to both of you. This one is saying, Financial Clinic, is Forex trading a good investment or is it gambling? A friend of me told me about it, but I hesitate to join it. I have a lot of financial responsibility. What I want to focus on, Eric and Raquel, is that statement, a friend of mine told me. Many of us invest because a friend of mine told me. I entered into a pyramid scheme because a friend of mine told me. And this is a friend I trust. This is a friend I've grown up with. I know he cannot lie to me. So let's talk about that whole issue of a friend of mine told me, because a lot of us Kenyans invest based on that basis.
Yeah, very, very true.
Yes.
Okay. Maybe I could take this and then Eric can close for us.
Okay.
There's what we call fear of missing out, FOMO.
Yeah.
Most of us suffer from FOMO. So you see your friend who looks to you like they are doing well. You imagine they're doing well because of how they're presenting themselves to you or what you think. And then you wonder what they're doing. So they come and tell you there's this deal that I've had. And actually what I've seen, because I've been there, I mean, most of us have been there, they even show you screenshots of, assumed amount they're already making. But one thing people don't tell you is the labor behind it, or what is in small dots. They tell you just come in, you do this, you get into this, you start, this is what you'll do, and then the money will start coming in. I remember there's one I got into, and you were just supposed to watch a video. Watch that video. In 50 seconds, you make your 50 shillings. I mean,
really?
Who wouldn't do that? Yes. Yes, I don't know. I know one of the listeners will remind us what it was called. And I was watching the videos, and true to the word, I could see myself accumulating the money, virtual money. But woe unto me, when it was time to withdraw, the system is not working. There are delays. Finally, the screen went blue. Blue means that thing is totally gone. So why do we do that? Number one, we do not want to be left behind, what I call the fear of missing out.
Yes.
And number two, we imagine this person will no longer be in the same level with me because they are advancing. So I want to join them because I do not want to be left behind. And what does that go to? The idea that we want to have the sense of belonging.
Yeah.
So Moka Aniache, who will be my friend? Who will I be communicating with? So I find myself doing it while I do not understand the question of what. We don't ask the hard questions because these are our friends.
Yeah.
So we trust. But ideally, we don't just trust them. It's our greed and fear that is operating on us.
Wow.
That's why we do it.
Greed and fear.
But we need to ask deep questions. Greed and fear, those are movers. And if you can take care of this, you'll be able to ask the hard questions. Which is this company? When was it started? Who is the founder? Can I meet them, or do you know somebody who has met them? You're getting the hard questions. When did you withdraw? How did you withdraw? Those hard questions. And how long has it been in existence? So, ladies and gentlemen, it's the time we come in and say, this is not Raquel speaking, this is my fear of missing out talking, or this is my greed that is talking, or this is, something not me. So sit back, don't just get in. But unfortunately, our friends are very convincing. They'll call you today, they'll call you tomorrow, they'll invite you for the meetings where you even have coffee. You see them paying easily, and you'll start dreaming that this is me in the near future. This is me who will be buying. And we even start doing what? Designing our house, the car that I will buy. Once that's set in, you know what goes out? Reasoning goes out. because now you are operating on sentiment. Yeah, it is not a real logic.
Raquel, umetusoma sana.
Now, namuulize, since you are doing this game, Titako amejoin. Is your mother in it? I mean, we should start with our family, shouldn't we?
Yes.
Before we go to our friends.
Yes.
If they are not there, please leave me alone. Let me sip my water and watch you.
Oh my goodness, Eric, I like what Raquel is saying, the fear of missing out. And one of the things I've seen in Kenya is we have waves. Kulikuwa na wave ya nini, what were those birds called? And we have them in Western Kenya. The quails.
Locusts.
Yes.
Quails.
Tisinu. There was that wave and everybody went into it. And then there was the wave of greenhouses. And everybody jumped into it. You know, a friend of mine once told me this. He said that you get into it when it's still a rumor. When it becomes a headline, it's the time to jump out. By the time your shoe shiner is telling you about greenhouses, you should not be getting in, you should be getting out. I don't know what you can tell us about that, Eric.
It is very true. I've heard about it quite often now. And actually, I have a very close relative who got into quails, got incubators.
Yes.
You know, and he was told the way it's going to be the supply in a certain region. And I'm telling you, the amount of money invested, the time, the hustle, the employment he did, even I employed like 6 people to do it. Then eventually you have the eggs. There's no one to sell to. All of a sudden now the bubble is burst.
Yeah.
It was all a scheme. It is someone who just wanted to sell. It is true. Some of these things, if you enter within the first people, yes, you will get. But the worst thing is this: how many people will you have hurt in the process of you getting out and making your money? And that brings me back again to purpose. Why am I doing this? What is the end game? And if it is good, I'm telling you, you will get. Now, to answer your question, number one, why would people get into these bad investments? From friends, especially when it comes from friends. One of the best ways of marketing has been known to be what? Word of mouth.
Word of mouth, yes.
Oh, nothing beats word of mouth. That's why rumors fly very fast. Why? They are spoken. They're not even texted. It is said, nani aliniambia, nani alisema. So word of mouth moves very fast. Why do we easily accept words like that from our friends? Because we trust them easily. Now, this is one of the things I ask myself every time I hear an idea from people. When I look at them and where they sit, who are they? If you ever look around yourself, Pastor Jemo, you will agree with me that you know 2 or 3 wealthy people. True or false?
True.
Have they ever come to tell you what to do with your money?
No.
Never. Ask yourself why. The top is never crowded. Opportunity immense. And when you get there, first you get there through your mind. You must be able to agree and tell yourself, you know what, I am building onto something with my money. As I say, I'm building towards something. When I get to the top, the people who do real estate, they will never tell you come and do real estate. The people who are big in transport, they never tell you come and do transport. They would prefer you learn from what they have done. Let their actions speak rather than their words speak. And that's why these to get rich quick schemes are easily accepted. How funny is it that you watch a video and I get paid? Wangapi sio vipofu hii dunia wanaweza watch walipwe? And you will end up investing something into it eventually.
Yeah, definitely.
So ask yourself these questions. What are the fundamentals behind it? Does it make any sense? And it is true. Greed and fear, those are the driving force to these emotional investments. Finally, money is not emotional. Never forget this. Money never feels away for anyone.
Yes.
Never. And that's why if money fell to away for anyone, we would not have some areas that I don't want to say the names, but we would not have some slums. We would not have some people who don't have, because money would be feeling away for them, and it would be transferred from one hand to another hand, which would lead to them.
Wow. Okay. We'll talk about how do I identify a good investment opportunity? But even as we talk about that, maybe you can also help us differentiate between an investment, a pyramid scheme, and betting. I've talked to some young people, and for them, betting is investing. You know, so if we can differentiate between the two. And in fact, just the other day, a friend of mine was trying to talk to me about this opportunity. And I just looked at her and I told her, this one is a pyramid scheme. This one, run now, run. This is a pyramid scheme. So how do we differentiate those three? I think it will be important for us to know. If you have any questions for us today, 20316 is the SMS line. WhatsApp number 0786 316 316. Wow, Goi from South Sea saying, hey, this financial clinic here, Leo, the financial doctors are just jabbing us. Information vaccine. Ili iwe funzo kwa watu wengine. My name is James Okumu. It's the Financial Clinic, hanging out with Eric, who's a financial consultant, and Raquel, who is a personal development coach specializing in financial wellness. Steve from Kahawa has sent in a message. Says, Pasi, Raquel has hit the nail on the head. The guy talking about forex trading, tell him to look for other ventures. Although I do it full-time, it requires skills and years of relentless learning. If he is ready to learn, let him start from there. Look for the facts, the light and dark side, before he can decide to jump in. That's a comment coming in from Steve in Kahawa. It seems quite a number of people had issues with the quail business. Listen to this one. This one says, I will never forget about the quail eggs. When one of them was costing 100 bob, my mother-in-law bought 10 per week, because she was told that it will cure her son's asthmatic condition if he takes the eggs for a month. That translates to about 4K. She hates the word quail till today. Oh my goodness. And then you say mambo na pyramid scheme up. So quite a number of people SMSing and giving us details. There's this one from Timoa Uba. Says, today's topic brings bad dreams during the day. My question is, why does our government fail us, that is screening the investors before they introduce their products to us? Maybe we'll talk about that. But let's go back to what I was asking earlier. How do you tell a good investment? And even as we get into us, maybe you can tell us the difference between an investment, a pyramid scheme, and betting. Eric.
Good. That one. Let me start with the betting part.
Yeah.
And why betting is because young people, and one of the things I tell people, February 14th, we attended the men's conference, and chapter 4, we discussed projects and investments and such words. You know, every man you see out there will always tell you, Nikonaka project,
yes,
Kunaka investment.
Kamradi.
We have this to hate, Kuna kamradi ndiyako sasa. So whenever they speak about these things, guess what? They are talking about gambling. And I've come to investigate even further and find out that the younger they are, the higher the chances of them being involved in gambling.
Yeah.
And gambling, in short, is also betting. This is how I define, in simple terms, betting and gambling. That it is a pool of funds created by a person. Then you bring in the money. Then eventually one of you is picked as a winner, who takes home only 10% of the that you guys brought in. So when you see someone taking 150 million out, guess what? It was 1.5B. So the person who created this scheme at the end of the day is the one who makes the money. They are taking money from you. They don't want a lot, 5, 10, 15, 20, on the higher side 100. But guess what? Ones that we normally use is, if you cannot risk, you will never get. And once that word is used, the higher the risk, the higher the return.
Yes.
It's the reverse psychology of what you know in terms of investment in reality.
Okay.
It is true. The higher the risk, the higher the return. But guess what? Where am I investing? This betting that I call an investment, what is being done to multiply or to add the money or grow in value so that tomorrow or 2 years, 5 years later, I can be able to get out something. So in short, this is what I say. Betting, endeleeni kutafutana, put in that money in that pot. But eventually, muangaliane tu muone who amongst you might get that chance.
Yeah.
And I've even heard people using the Bible verses. You know, funny enough, the Bible will be used for all good and bad.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
The time and the chance. Time and the chance. Kwanza anaanzianga hapo.
Yes.
The race is not for the fastest. Neither is it for this. But time and chance happens to them all. Mvua hainyeshei waovu na inanyeshea wote. Inanyeshea waovu na watakatifu. So that is betting. Pyramid schemes, again, I would say this. These are carefully crafted investment opportunities. And I will call them investment because majority of them have a good basis. Very good basis, by the way. But the whole idea is when these many clients come, they become overwhelmed and they cannot continue with the cash flow because of the demand is a little high. You're told invest 500,000 in this shamba. Now, because another financial advisor, another financial coach said, don't just buy land and leave it idle. It's not an investment, it is true. Put it into use so that it might gain you something. Then it becomes an investment. So someone tells you, nitakuwekea greenhouse, we will do avocados, we will do capsicum, whatever it is that we will do. These are the markets. This is where we are going to take it. This is a market you're getting. Now, the challenge becomes when the market fails. That's the risky part, which every investor should get into knowing very well. But majority of us do not want to take the risks ourselves. We want somebody else to take the risk so that we can believe them. Then eventually what happens when the whole cookie crumbles, we all come out crying. But reality is this: for the ones that have been buying those lands in the name of this and this will happen, do you know that all of them have been shown the same piece of land? Yes. You go to 100-acre piece of land, greenhouse ni 5. Then you're told you guys are number 10. So how wengine wajamaliza kulipa, but if you guys finish, in fact, we will take here number 2 and give it to you. The harvest is coming on a certain day. So when others are busy buying land, the first people are being paid for harvest that never happened. Crops that were never sold. So what are they doing? They are just circulating money. Then eventually they know when the pool becomes big, then that is when we pull out the plug and we walk away. Right now, people are saying they lost 18 billion in a certain scheme. Where will they ever get that money? But the land is still there. They'll be told, go for your land. You paid for an investment that had an element to it. You had a contract. The contract said 1, 2, 3 things, and you cannot get yourself out of that contract. I am telling you the truth. So a pyramid scheme will be crafted with the intention of getting money from the unsuspecting public. Then eventually they go away and they have already covered themselves with the contract. When it comes to investment, now for an investment, now here is where we look at, I'm putting money into a certain vehicle. Now there are 2 ways of investing. You're either an active investor or a passive investor. Majority of Kenyans who are employed want to invest, so they end up being passive investors. Why? It is not their main source of bread, that form of investment. They have their normal employment. You host a radio show, you are a journalist, so that means journalism is what pays you. But what you earn is not enough. But you've been able to save up 200, 300 here, and you want now to invest in something else that will give you more so that you can have better quality of life and be able to meet needs in the near future. So when you invest, there are 2 ways. Either you're active or passive. When you go in passive means you want to be actively involved in it. The first thing you need to look at is stability and sustainability of whatever it is that you want to do. Be it shares, be it that plot, be it that shamba you want to buy, be it that shop you want to open. For how long do you want to open it? I'll give you an example. My wife and I, we are currently planning a home to build one. And when we met the architect, and she's a very young girl, she asked us one question. Even as we design this house, what is the expiry date? Jemo, that threw me off. What? Yes, what is the expiry date? For how long do you want to live in this house? So that even as we design and as you put in money, you know I'm putting in money, this amount of money for this period, and this is the gain I will get. Sustainability is very important. Know the end game even before you start. Number 2, is it regulated? What people are asking, what will government do? Majority of investments in Kenya are not regulated, and the few that are regulated will be under a certain body, and there will be a route to remedy in the event there is loss or there was fraud. So ask yourself whether it's regulated before you even put a coin in it. Number 3, who is the person behind the business? Who are the managers? What is it that they do? What trade are they involved in? What is the future of that trade? You need to also question that. And when you're satisfied, you can jump in. The other thing is growth or return on investment. I'm putting in 100,000. Can I pull it out as and when I desire? Or as I put in that money, it cannot come out until a certain period is over. And what gain would I have gotten during that period? For instance, I'm buying a company called Family Media. So Family Media floats shares and I buy worth 100,000. But the share, at the end of the day, even 10 years later, my value is not 100, maybe it's 80. But during the period of those 10 years, I've been getting dividends of 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, 10,000. When I accumulate, I have been able to gain, let's say, 300,000. Then my investment value has gone down to 80. If I was to pull out, is there a gain or loss here? Definitely there is gain. So you also need to understand what is the return on investment and what are the chances of me pulling out or continuing with it and transferring it to somebody else.
Okay, on that whole issue of return of investment, maybe I can pull Raquel into this conversation because I think many of us get baited on that whole issue of return of investment, and sometimes you see this opportunity and they tell you you will be getting 15% of your initial capital every month, and it sounds good. So what is reasonable? Because we of course want to make money. So if somebody's telling me if I give them 100K every month, I'll be getting 15K, I'll be drawn to that one as opposed to the one who's telling me I'll be getting 5K at the end of every year. So how do you know what is legit and what is not?
That's a very good question. And actually, the thing you need to ask yourself, a 15% per month translates to what per year, and then compare with what is already in the system. Like, for example, banks will give you what, 6%? If you put it in fixed account, you're getting 8%. So if this person or company, I want to put and say, go back and find out about the fundamentals of this company. How long has it been in existence? Or are you the first people in the first 3 months who have earned 15%?
Yes.
That means we do not know about sustainability. So going back to what I was saying, compare it with what is regulated, what has been in existence, and ask yourself, if they're giving 15%, don't you think even the banks would be putting their money there to make the money?
Yeah.
Are you getting?
Yeah.
Why do you think you, as an individual, you're wiser than even the institutional financial institutions that this deal is only you who is open to it? So I go back to the question, why are you getting drawn to things? It's also because of greed, and therefore you're asking the deep questions. There's something, if you allow me, James, just a little to say about pyramid schemes. There is a model they copy. They copy the model of word of mouth or person to person or networking.
Yeah.
Okay, networking is a very good model. It is established. It has actually built many people who are wealthy.
Yeah.
However, a pyramid scheme will come looking like it, but it has some holes that you need to identify. For example, has the company been in existence? Who are the founders? What is their goal? You're getting? So that when you're getting into it, what is the product that you are either selling or the service that you're selling? Can you stand and tell, I am working for this company and this is what we do. We offer services, and they can go back and check. So I want to say schemes look like, okay, but are not. So my question is, how many of us are willing to do the due diligence? Take time and find out, is this real? You see the questions we keep repeating. Has it been there? Who are running it? Okay. Do they have do they have infrastructure to back them up? For example, if Family Media was to go down now, we know who works there. I'll be able to say, I've seen actually James Okumu, he works there. They have the TV, they have the radio, they were established. This is their board of directors, okay? So you can even send a letter to the board of directors and book for a meeting, you're getting. But for the pyramid schemes, you're told there's somebody in especially they like at Cyprus, okay?
Yes.
Person you'll never see them. But in the era of virtual meetings, they could put somebody there. If you don't know them, how would you know they are the ones?
Very
how
true,
would you
very
prove
true.
they are? So I go back now to your question, return on investment. My friend, if you think it is too good to be true, imagine it. Imagine it.
Yes.
It's something that is telling you, there's something I'm not understanding. Please take time.
Okay.
Whether it was brought in by your spouse, tell him, I've had you, dear, but I'm thinking before we invest, can we discuss again? Especially when they are not very emotive. Because most of these pyramid schemes, they work on your emotions.
Yeah.
They want to hype your emotions, because once your emotions are up high, you cannot reason in logic.
Okay.
So if it's too good to be true, please think
stay
again
away from it
and ask the questions. Ask the questions. You're not late. Remember, we are not running the same race. I do not know why we feel that we must all go together. Let them in. Join them even a year later. Remember, you have your own dreams. You have your goals. But James, if you don't have your own dreams and your own goals, everybody's dreams and goals become yours.
Okay.
Yeah, they bring this one, you go that way. Yes.
Eric, I want to come back to you before we run out of time. We have about 3 minutes. The question then would be, what in your as a financial advisor, as a financial consultant, what are some good investment opportunities for the regular mwananchi? The regular mwananchi, I'm talking about maybe somebody who can put away 2,000-3,000 bob every month, and they're thinking, where can I put this money? Because sometimes it seems like the good things, you need to have 100K, 500,000, but me, I can only get 2,000 to 5,000 bob a month. What can I invest in?
To be very honest, James, that is the question every person asks. But guess what? Even after they are given the advice, they still do what? Go switch back to their greed. We are in the era of psychological selling, psychological market. So I'm also a marketer, and I can tell you for sure, at the back of my mind, if I want you to do something, I know where to twist. I will know, and I will work with your mind, because that is where I need to start with. Now, to answer your question, number one, the easiest place such a person would invest, and they're looking at 2,000, 3,000, that's what they can be able to spare from their budget per month. I would start with money market fund.
Okay.
Money market fund, these ones are being offered by financial institutions, banks, and even insurance companies. It's a good avenue for you to save. Your money grows at a consistent rate, and a rate that is acceptable, not imaginable, acceptable. And it would be a good way to accumulate your funds, then eventually get into those 200s and 300s and be able to do something. Another thing you can do is stocks. You can allocate even 1,000 shillings into stocks. Because the minimum shares you need to buy is only, the minimum number of shares you need to buy is only 100. There are shares that are going for 3 bob. There are shares that are going for 10 bob. So you can imagine with 1,000 shillings, you can actually buy across 2 or 3 counters, and you become a major investor with time. Again, purpose being of importance. The other thing is you can get into small businesses. And this one I like, because if you have a skill in something and you don't need to pay, you don't need to buy machinery. There are things we sometimes do and they make sense. Why do you invest $1 million in terms of assets, then eventually say hauna pesa ingine ya kuendelea na biashara, but you've already bought equipment? Start small with your skills. What is it that God has given you? What is it that I can be able to do? Can I speak better than Demo? Can I entertain people? Then I can become an MC. There are things you can be able to do. So business and small businesses that you can do with your own hands is a good thing. The other thing is get together with other people. I have always given an example of a group that is in, to be very specific, in Gikomba. I worked with them. They together bought a piece of land in Kileleshwa. As we speak today, they have built apartments.
Wow.
They all own apartments. But guess what? The most they contributed was 3 million.
Wow.
The most each one person contributed was 3 million over a period of 5 years.
Yeah.
Get together with other people, like-minded, and work things together and have a good way of governing yourselves. The other one I can also talk about is majority of us, and especially the people that can be able to spare 2,000, 3,000. One of the things they fail in is to get tired at one point in time. and our strength will not be there as it were before. Start thinking of putting aside money towards your retirement.
Yes.
These opportunities might go, and to some extent, and this is what I have seen, 70% of people that will keep on lamenting that they investing, end up retiring, start looking at a retirement fund. There are many insurance companies that can give you something. The investment companies that can give you something that you can start retiring. But bottom line here, sir, is this: purpose. Why am I doing this? What is the end game at the end of the day?
Awesome.
Yes.
It's interesting you say that, Eric, because the whole of last month on the Financial Clinic, we were talking about retirement and how to prepare for retirement.
I listened in.
Yeah, awesome. Raquel and Eric, unfortunately, my time is up. Thank you so much for this wonderful conversation. And looking at the responses, there are a lot of people who've connected with what you're saying. I believe we've been able to help somebody out today. So, asanteni sana.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. I'm out of time. Remember the two things we've been told today by Raquel: fear and greed, which is driving you. The fear of missing out. Kila mtu ananunua maguta. Even me, I need to buy. Relax. Breathe in, breathe out. Usually for me, one of the things I do when I'm under pressure to make this financial decision, I sleep on it. Wacha wangoje. Yeah, let me nifikirie vizuri. I'm not under pressure. I'm out of time. We'll hook up again next week on another Financial Clinic. Have a great day.
This and more of our shows, log on to www.familymediaonline.com to enjoy a wide variety of programs, from current affairs to testimonials and features, pastoral and inspirational shows, kids entertainment, and so much more. Also stream live on www.familymedia.tv.